Hello. Welcome to a video with me, Aziza, aka Gourmet Pants. I'm cold. My room is cold. That's why I'm wearing all this ridiculous garb. And it's seasonal, and I'm enjoying the season because it's white and it's like Christmas. Even though there's no Christmas stuff around me. It's quite naked. Anyway, the pen we are going to look at today is on loan from Applebaum Pennon. And it is a Montblanc donation George Gershwin pen. So I've actually never reviewed a donation pen before, and I have actually considered buying one before. It was a couple of years ago in Ackerman in The Hague, and it's the kind of place that even if you don't need anything, you go to it and you find something you think you need. So I almost bought it. I ended up buying a 146, which I'm happy with. This is actually a really nice size and shape. I'm a big fan of this shape of pen and the size of it. Like, it's really nice, really comfy. So yes, on loan from Applebaum, and it is about $720 US. So I'm just going to give you the rough price, and then we are going to go look at the packaging and see how it writes in more detail. But pretty cute pen. Really nice if you're like into music or you appreciate pens that are a tribute to composers, for example, as in Gershwin. And if you are a clarinet player, or if you like New York, because there's a lot of New York theme on here, and it's just a lot of cute stuff. This is probably not the donation pen I would personally buy, because it just doesn't tick all the boxes for me in that I don't really want a Gershwin pen. But I do really like the shape of them, so there are other options for me, for example. And maybe you'll like this one, and maybe you'll want a different one. Or maybe you won't want any, and that's perfectly fine. So let's go look at the pen and packaging in detail, and I will see you in a second. Hello, everyone. So here we are looking down at the desk so we can look at the huge details of this Montblanc donation pen, homage to George Gershwin. Thank you again to Applebaum for loaning me this pen. Now, let's look at the packaging. And as we look at the packaging, I will tell you some details about it. Montblanc is paying tribute to one of the greatest American composers. Gershwin's compositions span to both popular and classic genres. Now, everything I'm reading from them is from Montblanc, so that's just what they have written. The box is ridiculous. I actually hate it because it's huge, and if you know me, you know I don't like packaging. So it's pretty, it's presented nicely, but it's a massive box, okay? Now, it is a very presentation type box. It's got this plastic thing in here, and inside are, let me see if I can get it out. Okay, I don't want to take them out because I'm going to have to get them back in. They are reproductions of pictures of New York at the time. So there's like, you can see that it's behind this plastic thing, and because it's on loan, I don't want to dig this out and wreck anything. So here's an example. Let me see if I could figure out how to do this without wrecking it. No, it's just not going to happen. Oh, wait, there we go. Ha, I found the tab. Yeah, sorry about that. So we can delicately hold these reproductions. There's one. Okay, so like, it's pretty cool. They're black and white. It's a really neat touch. I will say that. I will give them that, like, at least they did something unique and not just like their usual clamshell packaging with like the plain booklet, or like the booklet that just gives you a bit of information about the special edition. At least something a little more going on here, something that you can, like, it's worth keeping the packaging for because you have a piece of art. The box, well, the pen sits in here, obviously. This is the booklet, the Gershwin Booklet, and it's just like the black felt bed. Gershwin was born on September 1898 in New York, United States. He is considered the first composer who brought jazz into the concert hall. Amongst his best-known works are the orchestral compositions Rhapsody in Blue, hence the blue, An American in Paris, and Porgy and Bess, now considered some of the most now considered one of the most important American operas of the 20th century. The donation pen is based on the Le Grand model, so the 146. It's black precious resin with platinum-coated details. The iconic clarinet opening of Rhapsody in Blue was the inspiration for the clip of this writing instrument. The cap ring is inspired by the birth of Gershwin in Brooklyn and the close relationship between him and his place of birth with the engraving of the Brooklyn Bridge and his signature. So if we look at this, you can see the bridge and his signature. Very cute. On the nib of the fountain pen, there was an engraving of skylines, which is inspired by the album cover of Rhapsody in Blue. We'll look at that in more detail. And one of my favorite things about this pen, the ink window is blue. Look at that. Awesome. I love that. I think it's so pretty. So I really like that. And that's really cute. So it comes with, they say, a special gift box. And here is the booklet. So we could just take a look at it. I just read you that, of course. The most well-known American pianist and composer. His unique use of rhythmic variation and moods inspired generations of music and has lost none of its fascination today. And so we just flip through a little. A genius at the piano. Surprisingly, music was not an integral part of Gershwin's early life. He first discovered its power and appeal in the New York borough of Brooklyn, where he grew up amidst a melting pot of cultures, ethnicities, and sounds. His interest in music was sparked by a mechanical piano at a penny arcade in Manhattan. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, I don't want to read all this because I don't want to take up too much time of just looking at a paper. But jazz, classical, ragtime, blues, spiritual, Broadway hits, everything fused together in his music cosmos. So that's just some background. And jazz meets classical, Rhapsody in Blue, the clarinet, as we discussed, platinum-coated clip. Yeah, so this is just giving you details about the pen and like what they have done with it. Yeah, so there we go. And then there's the service guide at the back. So they've put a lot of attention and into detail about the pen to like really do an homage. And typically they do really well. I mean, you have to love it or hate it. Or no, I mean, it has to like be something that appeals to you. Just putting that down. I'm usually not really into like homage pens, but lately they've been doing some really neat ones and I've been enjoying them. But one of my favorite things about this one is actually the shape. I really like the shape of this pen. I find it super comfortable in hand. It's a bit longer than the 146, as far as I can tell, but it's very comfortable. It is precious resin, so it's a little bit lighter than the other like special edition 146s. The finial is just the regular snow cap. It comes to a slightly conical point. As we said, the clarinet, we can look at the details of it because it's pretty cute. And the center band. But other than that, like there's not a whole lot going on. Like there's not much more to the trim. I like it. I like that it's very simple. It's not like overwhelming. There's not a whole lot to look at. Like it's not as complicated as some of the other special editions like the Walt Disney. So if you're looking for something a little more classic, like this is a pretty decent option. It is a piston filler, and it does have a resin grip section, quite smooth threads, and as I said, I love that blue ink window. Let's see if we can get it back. Yeah, there it is. Love that ink window. Now we can take a look at the nib. Let's do that, shall we? And single slit. It is got a round breather hole. It is engraved like with the skyline, Montblanc's logo, 4810. It is a 14 karat gold nib, plastic feed, as they usually are. And is this a fine? I can't remember. Medium. Sorry. It's hard to remember because I have so many of them going on. You can see that it's like ever so slightly rounded. So it's a little skippy on really smooth paper. I also find it a little... on smooth paper. Works better on papers like Leuchtturm, which are a little toothier, and that's what I'm using today. But I'm just letting you know that it could, like, I found that this could probably use a quick tune-up from a Nibmeister. So, now if you do buy this from Applebaum, they do have a Nibmeister on hand, so you could always leave that in your comments that you want it checked. So let's do some writing. I'm going to just turn off this light and see if that helps with the blowing out. No, it doesn't. Give me 1 second. Okay, let's do some writing here. Okay. I wouldn't call that hard start the pen's fault because I had it uncapped and just sitting here while I fiddled with lights. However, on Leuchtturm, this is a super nice writer. It's really wet and it makes a nice round line. Montblanc. Donation pen. It is the Homage to Gershwin. It is a 14 karat medium. Fairly wet. Not too wet, but I like it. And the ink is Montblanc Toffee Brown. In hindsight, I probably should have put a blue in, but I didn't. So, Toffee Brown it is. Now, just some quick regular writing. Really nice. If you're wondering why I'm writing at this weird angle, it's because I'm trying to do it through the camera, and I'm going to stop doing that now. Very pleasant. I like it a lot. It has the same features as the 146 nib, so it's a firm writer. It's pleasant. It's smooth. Really works better on for this particular nib. It works better on slightly toothier paper. Rhodia was too smooth. Tomoe River worked well. Although it is smooth, it's not as coated as Rhodia. Okay, and then we're going to just do some no pressure, like some free writing. It works quite well. Here are some lines, no pressure. There's no pressure here, no skipping. So the over polishing is really only an issue on super smooth paper. So if you use very smooth papers, you'll probably need to have yours looked at if you have this issue. With some pressure, you can squeeze out just like a bit of a wetter medium. It's quite nice. Like, it's really nice for daily use. It's a really comfortable pen for daily use. I actually really enjoy it. Although Gershwin is not my favorite, like, I have no issues with him, but he's not really, like, someone I, like, look up to or anything. I appreciate what they have done, but, like, I wouldn't necessarily buy it because it's a Gershwin, but I do like the details. They're cute. It's not really meant to be posted. I'm just showing you what it looks like in hand. Quite comfortable like this. I find it works well enough. Unposted, even if you have like larger hands, I think it's still okay to use quite comfortably. I don't really do reverse writing, but since I'm sitting here and I remember it, I'll try it. It's a bit sharp, but it does work relatively well. If you really need to write something in a pinch and you need it to be a little bit finer, a little bit drier, it does work. We do a couple loops. We can see. Quite nice. Yeah, it's quite decent. So, thank you so much to Appelboom for loaning me this pen. It's going to be sent off to the next reviewer shortly. Don't forget you can use the discount code FRIEND for 10% off your purchases. However, Montblanc requires that they don't allow discounts, so it does not work on Montblanc, but Appelboom has tons of other stuff you can look at. So you got that. And if you do not already know, I am Aziza, aka Gourmet Pens. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, and Patreon. And you can also find me out there as Toronto Pen Company, where I go to pen shows and I teach workshops and I do cool things with cool tools. So I'm out there as both. Check me out. And I would love it if you would like and subscribe. It'd be much appreciated. And thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you learned something, or at least enjoyed, you know, the video, some writing samples, and yeah, hopefully you just had a good time. So thank you again. We will see you next time. Bye.